Welcome to our countdown of the top 10 most infamous and bloodiest dictators from the 19th and 20th century. From the battlefields of Europe to the remote jungles of Southeast Asia, these figures rose to power, often from humble beginnings, and held the fates of millions in their hands. These leaders left a dark mark on history with their brutal regimes and ruthless tactics. Their stories are a stark reminder of the fragility of peace and the ever-present potential for darkness within humanity. Our journey into the heart of darkness begins with a man whose name has become synonymous with evil itself, Adolf Hitler. From the ashes of a defeated Germany, scarred by World War I and economic turmoil, Hitler rose to prominence, exploiting fear and resentment to fuel his ascent. His Nazi party, with its venomous ideology of Aryan supremacy and venomous anti-Semitism, seized power in 1933. Germany, under Hitler's hypnotic sway, transformed into a totalitarian state, its industries geared towards war and conquest. Hitler's thirst for Lebensraum, or living space, led to the invasion of Poland in 1939, plunging the world into the abyss of World War II. The horrors of this conflict, from the bombed-out cities of London to the frozen wastelands of the Eastern Front, are forever etched in human memory. Yet, within this global catastrophe, an even darker chapter unfolded: the Holocaust. Driven by a chillingly calculated plan to exterminate entire populations, the Nazi regime systematically murdered 6 million Jews, along with millions of other minorities deemed undesirable. The death camps, those factories of death, stand as a chilling testament to the depths of human depravity that can be unleashed when hatred and intolerance are allowed to fester. From the heart of Russia emerged another titan of tyranny, Joseph Stalin. A man of cunning and ruthlessness, Stalin emerged victorious from the power struggle that followed Lenin's death, assuming control of the vast Soviet Union. Under his iron grip, the nation underwent a brutal transformation, from a backward agrarian society into an industrial and military powerhouse. This modernization came at a horrific cost. Stalin's paranoia knew no bounds, and he saw enemies everywhere, even within his own party. The Great Purge, a period of mass terror and political repression, consumed the Soviet Union, claiming the lives of millions. From all walks of life, from loyal party members to ordinary citizens, victims were swept up in the net of suspicion, accused of fabricated crimes, and subjected to show trials, imprisonment, and often execution. The Gulag, a vast network of forced labor camps scattered across the frozen expanse of Siberia, became synonymous with Stalin's reign. Here, millions of souls, condemned without trial, toiled under unimaginable conditions, their only crime being perceived as a threat to Stalin's absolute power. The human cost of Stalin's ambitions was staggering, leaving an indelible scar on the soul of Russia. In the vast and ancient land of China, Mao Zedong rose to power, promising a new era of prosperity and equality. A charismatic leader, Mao harnessed the discontent of the peasantry, leading a communist revolution that would forever alter the course of Chinese history. His vision, rooted in Marxist-Leninist ideology, aimed to transform China from an agrarian society into a modern communist state. But Mao's grand ambitions would soon clash with the harsh realities of governing a nation of such immense size and complexity. The Great Leap Forward, launched in 1958, aimed to rapidly industrialize China and collectivize its agriculture. However, this utopian experiment had disastrous consequences. The forced collectivization of farms disrupted traditional agricultural practices, leading to widespread crop failures and a catastrophic famine. Millions perished from starvation, their cries for help silenced by the state's propaganda machine, which painted a rosy picture of progress while the nation starved. The Cultural Revolution, launched in 1966, plunged China into further chaos. Mao, seeking to consolidate his power and purge the party of perceived dissent, unleashed the Red Guards, mobs of fanatical students, upon the nation. They targeted intellectuals, artists, and anyone deemed insufficiently revolutionary, subjecting them to public humiliation, imprisonment, and often death. Chapter 4. Pol Pot, the Killing Fields of Cambodia. From the jungles of Southeast Asia emerged a regime of unimaginable brutality, the Khmer Rouge led by the enigmatic and ruthless Pol Pot. Driven by a twisted vision of agrarian utopia, Pol Pot sought to purify Cambodia, wiping the slate clean of what he considered to be corrupting influences. Cities were emptied, their inhabitants driven into the countryside to work in the fields. Money, religion, and education were abolished, replaced by a regime of forced labor, indoctrination, and terror. The killing fields, those haunting landscapes dotted with mass graves, became a chilling testament to the Khmer Rouge's reign of terror. Intellectuals, professionals, anyone deemed a threat to the regime's warped ideology were systematically eliminated. The Cambodian genocide, a horrific chapter in human history, claimed the lives of an estimated 2 million people, nearly a quarter of the population. The world watched in horror as images of emaciated bodies and tales of unspeakable atrocities emerged from this once peaceful nation. Chapter 5. Benito Mussolini, the Rise and Fall of Italian Fascism. In the aftermath of World War I, as Europe grappled with economic turmoil and political instability, a new ideology took root: fascism. In Italy, Benito Mussolini, a charismatic and ruthless orator, seized upon the nation's wounded pride and yearning for order. Mussolini's Black Shirts, a paramilitary force, terrorized political opponents and paved the way for his rise to power in 1922. Italy, under Mussolini's grip, transformed into a totalitarian state, its economy reorganized along corporatist lines, its citizens subjected to strict control and censorship. Mussolini's ambitions extended beyond Italy's borders. He dreamed of restoring the Roman Empire to its former glory, embarking on a series of foreign adventures, from the invasion of Ethiopia in 1935 to joining Hitler's Axis powers in World War II. However, Mussolini's grand designs proved illusory. Italy's military, ill-prepared for a major conflict, suffered humiliating defeats. As the tide of war turned against the Axis, Mussolini's grip on power weakened. In 1943, he was deposed and arrested, only to be rescued by German paratroopers and installed as a puppet leader in northern Italy. His ignominious end came in 1945 when he was captured and executed by Italian partisans, his body strung upside down in a public square in Milan. Chapter 6. Kim Il-sung, the eternal president of North Korea. In the aftermath of World War II, as the Korean peninsula emerged from the shadow of Japanese occupation, it became a focal point for Cold War tensions. Kim Il-sung, a communist guerrilla leader backed by the Soviet Union, rose to power in the north, establishing a regime that would become synonymous with isolation, militarism, and personality cults. Kim's vision for North Korea was one of self-reliance, or juche, a philosophy that emphasized national unity and independence from foreign influence. However, this ideology masked a regime that ruthlessly suppressed dissent and maintained an iron grip on all aspects of life. In 1950, Kim Il-sung launched an invasion of South Korea, igniting the Korean War. The conflict, which drew in the United States and China, devastated the peninsula, leaving millions dead and the country permanently divided. Under Kim's rule, North Korea transformed into a militarized state, its resources poured into building a massive army and developing nuclear weapons, even as its people endured chronic food shortages and economic hardship. Kim Il-sung's cult of personality, carefully crafted through propaganda and state control, permeated every aspect of North Korean society. He became known as the Great Leader, his portraits ubiquitous, his words treated as gospel. Chapter 7. Saddam Hussein, the ruthless dictator of Iraq. In the volatile Middle East, Saddam Hussein emerged as a figure of fear and power. A ruthless dictator, he ruled Iraq with an iron fist, crushing dissent and embarking on brutal campaigns against his own people. Saddam's rise to prominence was marked by violence and cunning. A high-ranking member of the Ba'ath Party, he played a key role in the 1968 coup that brought the party to power. Through a combination of political maneuvering and brutality, he consolidated his control, becoming president of Iraq in 1979. Saddam's regime was characterized by a cult of personality, widespread surveillance, and the ruthless suppression of any opposition. He used fear as a weapon, instilling obedience through his notorious security forces, which carried out torture, disappearances, and mass executions. Saddam's brutality was not confined to Iraq's borders. In 1980, seeking to exploit Iran's post-revolutionary chaos, he launched a devastating war against his neighbor. The Iran-Iraq War, a bloody stalemate that lasted for 8 years, claimed the lives of hundreds of thousands, leaving both countries scarred and exhausted. Saddam's use of chemical weapons against Iranian troops and his own Kurdish population shocked the world, revealing the depths of his cruelty. In the aftermath of the Spanish Civil War, a conflict that tore the nation apart and left it deeply scarred, Francisco Franco emerged as the victor. A staunch nationalist and devout Catholic, Franco had led the rebel forces against the democratically elected Republican government, plunging Spain into a brutal conflict that would last for 3 long years. Franco's victory in 1939 ushered in an era of authoritarian rule that would last for nearly 4 decades. His regime, rooted in a blend of fascism, conservatism, and Catholicism, systematically repressed any opposition, crushing dissent and silencing voices that dared to challenge his authority. Political parties were banned, freedom of speech curtailed, and the press tightly controlled. Franco's Spain became a land of fear and silence, where any hint of opposition could lead to imprisonment, torture, or even death. The legacy of the Spanish Civil War and Franco's subsequent dictatorship cast a long shadow over Spain. Thousands disappeared during the conflict, their fates unknown, their families left to grieve in silence. The wounds of the past ran deep, and the process of healing and reconciliation would prove to be a long and arduous one. In the heart of Africa, Idi Amin's reign of terror unfolded with a chilling blend of brutality and eccentricity. A former military officer, Amin seized power in a coup in 1971, overthrowing the government of Milton Obote and unleashing a wave of violence and repression that would grip Uganda for the next 8 years. Amin's rule was characterized by extreme paranoia, unpredictability, and a complete disregard for human life. He purged the army and government of those he perceived as threats, often targeting specific ethnic groups such as the Acholi and Langi for persecution. His security forces, units like the dreaded State Research Bureau and the Public Safety Unit, operated with impunity, carrying out torture, disappearances, and extrajudicial killings with terrifying efficiency. Amin's erratic behavior and grandiose self-image became infamous on the world stage. He declared himself president for life, awarded himself a collection of outlandish titles, and expelled all Asians from Uganda, accusing them of economic sabotage. The exact number of victims of Amin's reign of terror remains unknown, but estimates range from tens of thousands to hundreds of thousands. His brutality shocked the world, leaving an indelible stain on Uganda's history. In the vast expanse of the Libyan desert, Muammar Gaddafi carved out his own unique brand of authoritarianism. A charismatic and enigmatic figure, he seized power in a bloodless coup in 1969, overthrowing the monarchy and establishing the Libyan Arab Republic. Gaddafi's rule, spanning over 4 decades, was a complex and contradictory mix of revolutionary zeal, pan-Arabism, and ruthless repression. He sought to reshape Libya according to his own vision, outlined in his Green Book, a rambling treatise on his political philosophy. Gaddafi's foreign policy was equally unpredictable, veering between confrontation with the West and attempts at rapprochement. He supported armed groups around the world, from the IRA to the PLO, earning him the moniker Mad Dog from his detractors. Domestically, Gaddafi's regime brooked no opposition. His security forces kept a tight lid on dissent, silencing critical voices and crushing any hint of rebellion. In 2011, inspired by the Arab Spring uprising sweeping across the region, protests erupted in Libya against Gaddafi's rule. The protests quickly escalated into a full-blown civil war, with NATO intervening militarily on the side of the rebels. Gaddafi's regime crumbled, and he was captured and killed by rebel forces in October 2011, ending his long and tumultuous rule. These dictators, each with their own motivations and methods, left a trail of unimaginable suffering in their wake. From the scorched battlefields of Europe to the remote villages of Southeast Asia, the 20th century bore witness to the devastating consequences of unchecked power and the depths of human cruelty. These dictators have left an indelible mark on history, reminding us of the devastating impact of absolute power. Their stories serve as a stark warning, a reminder of the fragility of peace and the importance of safeguarding human rights and democratic values. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more historical insights.